for the Zoom to come up.
I feel like there should be a countdown.
Well, we got to put it. I mean, production values.
Once next week, once I got OBS set up and we have the countdown clock on, we'll ease into like pros.
All right, time. We're ready, Joe.
Good evening and welcome to the After Hours show. My name's Joe in Norway. I'll be your cook this evening. This is the third season, some 44th episode, I believe, of the Autonomous Collective After Hours show. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and a community member at the Daily Coast. They're a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. And we're joined by Arjun from the Deep Into History pod. Evening, all. Everybody.
What's up, Joe?
Hey.
Prof.
Hey.
What's for
Always
supper?
a pleasure.
Well, we're returning. The great Satan is waging war across the globe, so we figured we'd stop at another country to, instead of teaching geography, teaching culinary history or whatnot. But as in wartime, war-torn situations and hemorrhaging economies and economies that are difficult to transport food and whatnot, we haven't been able to get to the trading post. So I'm kind of left with half-rotten vegetables and mostly used up vegetables here. I was intending to make a Cuban dish of either yuca or black beans and rice or something. But we had all those last week. And so then I thought, well, how about Lebanon? And I've run out of bulgur and I almost run out of parsley. I was going to make taboulleh, the green medicine salad. Lebanese taboulleh is typically made with cracked bulgur wheat that you soak in lemon. It's usually the fine bulgur, and then you just squeeze a ton of lemon juice into it. So you don't cook it; it just absorbs the lemon for the moisture, and then a shit ton of parsley and some dill.
Joe, that's just purely out of curiosity. Is that parsley or is that cilantro?
This is parsley, and I've got some dill, which is
okay, yeah. That's what I was wondering about. Okay.
They're really on their last legs here. It's all I've got. So instead of the traditional Lebanese tabbouleh, I'll make a bastardized Western version, which takes into account the New World God grain. Well, technically not a grain; it's a pseudo grain. Quinoa from the Incas, from where we must be bombing one of those countries down there, boats. But
At this point, we're bombing everyone,
It's like
so
all out
just
world
don't
war.
worry, you're safe. Any country, just name it.
So typically in traditional Lebanese tabbouleh, you make a ton of, it's like just mostly green salad, chopped parsley, very fine, and diced tomato and green onion, some mint, a ton of lemon, and a little bit of bulgur. Just like speckled. Bulgur is just supposed to be speckled like stars in this beautiful, wonderful, medicine-rich kind of parsley. It's so much parsley, just it feels like you're taking a wheatgrass shot or something.
And if I may
But
say, on behalf of everyone, your mise en place is exceptional, as always.
Yes.
Thank you kindly. This is the Elvis faith or something. So quinoa is actually, since again we're doing 100% vegetarian. Of course, you can mix feta or something in here, but we're going 100% vegetarian, like we always do every week. No dairy, no honey, no eggs, no cheese, no just vegan, as they say. So for the vegans, this is a very wonderful grain, pseudo grain, quinoa. It's one of the few that has it's a complete protein. So it's got all your amino acids. Um, so we'll be using that in Western style tabbouleh. Typically, it's more heavy on the bulgur or the quinoa or whatever. So I'm gonna chop whatever I have of my parsley. We're gonna cook up the quinoa, dice up some cucumber and a little chili, and we've got some onion there, little bit of red paprika, and I have about I'm about 2 or 3 lemons less than I need. So, but we'll make do with some vinegar or some other acidic, maybe citric acid. I've got the powdered citric acid. It's you can use that. Not to
Joe,
be confused with.
I'm your
Not
brother, okay? You need to record these individually while you do this for us every week and put it on TikTok.
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
offering your video
It'll be
editing skills.
huge, dude. Come on. You're
I'll
so
send you all
dope.
the links. I'll send you all the links, and you can chop up all the videos for some TikTok
Do I
vignettes.
look like I'm an artist? I'm a writer.
Oh, I thought you were offering
No, I'm
some
not offering to
video
be your
production
social media
skills.
manager. What I'm trying to say is just record it on your iPhone while you're talking to us and then post it to TikTok.
Uh,
You'll
uh,
blow up. You're so, what I'm trying to, it's a compliment. You're so good at what you
right up.
do. And like you just see the plebeian shit that goes viral when cooking on TikTok, and yours is so advanced. So please do it, brother.
Oh, bless. You're too kind. We'll think about it. We've got to get this proper recording situation set up first. So we've got it all. I've got the AI working on this. I've got my sub agents. I got my agents in the sub basement. Quinoa. There was one thing about the quinoa that it has some substance on the outside that I can't remember. James, you in the house, you remember what the substance on the outside of the quinoa grains is? It's very bitter and soapy. So you want to rinse it fairly well, at least for 30 seconds or so, just before you cook it, so you don't get any of the bitterness and soapiness in your dish. But that's about it. So I'm making a bastardized Western version of tabbouleh with barely any fresh vegetables, barely any parsley, but we'll make it work somehow. Right on.
Exciting.
How's the world going? Did that fucking toddler mouth off again?
Well, he spent, what, 5 minutes talking about how the Sharpie company made his pens, and then the Sharpie company comes up later and says none of that ever happened. And so, it's just he's just deranged. I
In
mean,
fairness,
and
but yo, Prof, and
yep.
I'm never gonna interrupt you. But in fairness, can we just like acknowledge the fact that that was the most coherent speech that he's made in the last 2 years?
Oh,
Because like
oh,
I understood where he was going with the felt pens. I did not.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything
It
else,
made
I have no
sense.
idea what he's talking about.
Oh, no, everything else was like all over the place. There are a bunch of people who put up the text version of it, and it's insane jabber. And then I said all kinds of other stupid things. I don't know. As I noted, it's just a clown. It's a clown club, clown car with all these idiots on it. What's interesting this past week is that I think everyone is finally convinced that he's nuts, and that the um, the Republican members of Congress are just roll over for him. And I think that the Democrats managed to push forward the idea or the trope that they kept on trying to, provide pay for TSA workers, and the Republicans kept voting it down. So I think it was working okay. There was some discipline there, and then the last couple of days, there's been this flurry of images of thousands of people standing in line for planes, and famous people, and built bars in the line, and that's sort of interesting. But as I said, uh, that's a soft target. I mean,
Wait, so
it's
does
just
Bill Barr have like an Instagram?
no. Somebody was taking a picture of him. They saw him
Okay.
in
I was just
line.
wondering. I was
They
wondering if
posted a
Barr went
picture of.
like influencer because, like, at this point, like the insanity that you so eloquently just spoke about, like, I would not be surprised if suddenly Bill Barr was an Instagram influencer.
No. But anyway, yeah. So airports are clogged still. And they're going to be clogged for a couple of days, and then the complication, of course, is sending ICE in as scabs to do the TSA's work. And they claim that they weren't doing that, but in fact, there all these people. Everyone's got a cell phone, so you can see they were doing some training on the side. And fortunately, all the ICE people, because they're in the damn airport, they have to unmask. So that's kind of interesting that you actually see these people, and some of these people are really young. I mean, it's like they're just like out of college or something,
Yeah.
and you know
What's also
it's pretty
disturbing is
bizarre.
that it's sort of like the United Colors of Benetton. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as white. Ice isn't as
Ah,
white as I thought it was.
oh
And
no.
it's I can only say that that's like a symptom of the disease that all Western societies are stuck under, this neoliberal and neoconservative um economy that is like forcing people to take things because like a lot of those people look like normal human beings.
Yeah,
And it was just like they're only doing this because they need that job. It's the only job that will pay them that
Sort of
much.
poverty draft type situation going on.
yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
stories, there are stories. People are sleeping. TSA agents are sleeping in their cars because they can't. They've lost their place to live, and a lot of strange things. Um, but there are a lot of facilities in an airport, so you could probably live in your car and be a TSA worker, I suppose.
No,
Um, we,
I can attest. Okay, I worked for WestJet as a customer service agent before went
oh
into
yeah, that's right.
HR. Um, I can assure you there is no comfortable place for someone who works at the airport to sleep in. There's no like lounge. Like it's all garbage.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Um, so there's that. Uh, there the scuttlebutt at the beginning of the week was that the United States, or the combined forces, as a couple of people referred to them, was going to either bomb. Well, they are bombing. They're bombing every day, but that they were going to send troops in to seize something, whether it's Karg Island or Lapak or whatever the hell it's called, Larak, which is another little island, bigger than Karg, but not that much bigger. And the even bigger island is too big. I mean, the one that's across from the rock. And so I don't think there's any optimal thing they can do to take territory.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I'm beginning to think that they've identified where the nuclear material is, and they're going to probably try and hit that. I would assume that's what they, because I don't think they can hold an island. I
Was this
mean, they just need
close to Pakistan?
massive.
No.
It would be
Close to
so
the
awesome
Pakistani
if they
border?
tried, though.
Oh no!
I
No.
mean, not obviously not for the poor soldiers, but
Oh no.
like geopolitically, to have a phase plant like that. But what I've been, I just the only reason I looked away was to look at my phone to see the latest information. And according to DropSite, um, the it's sort of like this movement of troops is supposed to be a bargaining chip from
Ah, yeah.
it's a tangential. It's not. It's this is in fact. This isn't anything. So it's a rumor, but apparently, like it's supposed to be like a bargaining tactic. Because it doesn't make
Well,
sense, right? Like like
Right.
where are they gonna go? They
well, I
would
don't think they have.
get
They don't have the
killed.
logistical resources for it. I mean, they haven't been marshaling other kinds of things to make it viable. So yes, I agree with you. It is a bargaining chip.
But
Um,
have you plus they have the UAE backing them up, the armed
oh.
forces of the UAE. So like yeah, you got what 380 mercenary soldiers to be sent there. Like this entire situation, and I completely agree with you. It's like it's completely insane.
Coalition of the willing or the unwilling. Yeah, absolutely.
What do
I
the
don't know.
Iranian armed forces look like in terms of numbers?
What 200, 300,000? They're a pretty big army.
Yeah, we're
I
And
mean,
the US has 50,000 distributed throughout
yeah,
the
all over
region.
those bases. Yeah.
the
And
IRGC alone pre-war was 109,000
mm,
troops. And then the Iranian army, which is separate, Profan, do you recall? I think it was significantly
so,
less, but
well, I thought they
it
were
was still
relatively the same size. Actually, I always thought the Revolutionary Guard were bigger, but whatever. I
they
don't know
no
how they
no
count that.
they are. I think the Revolutionary Guard is to like it's supposed to be a check against any kind of like counter revolution from the army.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
like
That's right.
every
That's their.
coup that happened during the entire last century. So, they're very smart, like the way they set it up.
Yeah, they unlike the United States, which is trying to make ICE into secret police, and they're not smart enough to be secret police. But the past couple of days, the ones in Minnesota have been following legislators around, the people who hung out with resistors and people with whistles or whatever. Any of those legislators, the ICE guys are following them around and taking pictures of their houses. So I have no idea whether it's just it's intimidation or crazy behavior, but that's happening. Um,
Oh, kitchen
so,
interruption.
go ahead.
I've got the quinoa ready. You could put oil in a pan and toast it a little bit to heat it up to make it cook faster, or not. But what we do is use one measure of grain to 1.5 water. I usually bring the water to a boil, and then put it on the stove. And you've got 15 minutes. You bring it to a boil, shut it down to a low temperature for 15 minutes with the lid covered. Don't touch it. And then after 15 minutes, let it sit for another 5 minutes and then fluff it up and you got it done. But in our case, since we're going to be doing the tabbouleh salad, we're going to take it out, take it out and spread it in a sheet pan, stick it out in the freezing cold we still have out here. Well, we always have freezing cold out here, but there we
Joe,
go.
you're so epic. Record this shit on TikTok right now. Can you get listen to me? Because like literally, the lime floating in your beautiful quinoa is literally Card Island at the tip of the Persian Gulf.
Oh
Come
man.
on, dude.
Oh
I'll talk to my people.
yeah, there we go. Uh, anyway, yes. Well, we're it's still been a busy week. I mean, who said we were just talking about it that Elaine, I think, mentioned that uh, 15 or so U.S. Personnel are injured at a Saudi air base, which is interesting because the Iranians have been relatively select. They haven't been sending a lot of missiles or drones, but they send them, kind of sporadically just to screw with people. And
Yeah,
so
it's
this
like
Saudi attack is, one of those, I
Hmm.
think.
it's also like very like I don't know, like psychological warfare. So like
Yeah,
no one can
Mhm.
ever like yeah, you might be able to sleep one night, you'll be worried about a missile attack. And then
yeah.
you'll definitely get hit the next night. So you're gonna have to like go to a bomb shelter. And like
Well,
it's like it's a crazy mind game on the public, I think, the way that
well,
they're like
it's
launching these
highly
attacks.
selective too, though. The Iranians are sending cluster munitions into Israel, but not
Israel.
very many.
Oh,
But
indeed.
they're just
Yeah.
enough to sort of screw with people.
It's
And
their yeah. It's
I mean,
their
because it's really bad to have lots of cluster munitions. I mean, they're technically, a war crime thing, but
Oh,
nobody signs off on it.
Israel has filed a complaint with
Oh,
the UN.
Yeah, that was beautiful, right? Like I love that Israel put a human rights complaint like before
yeah, no
as
irony there.
it's
as
so
they're
ridiculous.
fertilizing southern Lebanon and Gaza with white
Like
phosphorus.
with
Oh,
like yeah,
Christ.
and the fields of like South Israel with the bones of like
Oh,
dead Palestinians.
Uh, well,
Um,
and the bombardment is mainly between, Israel and Lebanon. That is, the majority of bombardment has generally been Israel into Lebanon, and not so much, just less against Iran. I mean, but that could all change if they actually decide to, as we said, it's kind of a bargaining chip to just move troops around. But if they actually suddenly decide to do something, um, it could get pretty ugly. Uh,
do you
I mean,
remember? Do you get like, obviously I know you guys remember, but just to remind everyone, during the 12-day war last June or July, forget what it was, June.
last
Uh,
year.
last year. Okay. Thank you. Um, so Iran expended thousands of like their like earlier generation of these like
Yes,
Shahed
absolutely.
drones that were like flying at like 180 kilometers an hour. Like they were like lawnmowers literally flying up across the sky.
They're,
And
yeah,
they depleted the like layers of missile defense.
Mm.
yes.
And then, so the reason that war ended was because on day 11 and 12, you can, I'll link them. I'll link these for you guys on Discord. You should watch the strikes that actually went through on Tel Aviv. This new generation that Anne was just speaking about, are they call them cluster munitions. Don't fall for that trap. Cluster music munitions are what the West uses. So they're like the little capsule bombs,
Bomblets.
bomblets,
Bomblets.
but
Yeah.
the ones that remain unex and some are designed not to explode, so that like if a combatant comes by and kicks it or steps on it, it'll blow
Mhm.
up, and it usually
Mhm.
Yeah.
just kills children.
Yeah.
These are MIRVs. Like God. Uh a MIRV. Okay, yo.
Multiple.
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 It's a multiple
And
reentry vehicle. On the
It's
episode I
like it's like
recorded with
Merv except with an E. Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. Um it's about 80 warheads. So after they're hypersonic missiles, they leave our atmosphere and they come down. So initially, the THAAD, the most high-tech defense, will go to shoot down that missile. But what happens is that the second the missile turns to back towards the atmosphere, the head of it um detaches and
Hmm.
releases 80 um between apparently it's between 20 and 60, like no one knows, but these are like it's like an artillery barrage
Yeah. Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single time. And
Yeah.
it also depletes the entire lower levels of missile defense, because
Right.
they're trying to shoot down each of
mm,
these individual targets and it doesn't work.
No.
And
No.
Iran apparently saved all of these for now, which is the
mm,
best time, which shows you that like the Iranians
Pretty
are playing
smart.
shamat, or like chess, if you will.
Yep. 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 It's true. I think they're being incredibly strategic, and Uh, but on the other hand, there's civilian targets have been hit in Iran, and the U.S. doesn't talk about that. The casualty level is up to, I think, 2,000
mm,
have been killed in this little set two. We're now in week four. Week five is just started. Is just going to start, and I don't know where we're going to go with that. I mean, and the whole stupidity of the Hormuz was open before this war. It can't be the reason why we had this war, even though that's what they said a couple of days ago, that that was the real reason, as opposed to the failure to regime change, the failure to take out all of their infrastructure. I mean, they're
We
doing sort of a decent job on it, but I think that the Iranians are prepared for this crap. So,
mm,
mm,
despite the fact that you have all this targeting data that undoubtedly the Israelis have given to the U.S., um, I don't think they're going to get what they want out of this. I mean, they will diminish armaments, ordnance, but on the other hand, the U.S. launched what 800 cruise missiles this past couple of weeks. So you're averaging what 200 cruise missiles a week,
at a
and
minimum,
that's
they've hit like
that's pretty
30,000
expensive.
targets in
I
Iran.
believe I have some numbers here. Let me check. Oh, you can continue to talk. I have to bring it up.
Well, it's. I mean, once you see the actual totals, it's going to be pretty amazing. And I mean, aside from the thing that Adnan had his office hours earlier, and they were kidding around about exactly what was the fire on the Gerald Ford aircraft carrier. Was it intentional? I guess the suggestion was that it was kind of a resistance thing, where if we set the aircraft carrier on fire, we won't have to go in. Um,
I
but
agree with that. Like, okay, I agree with that as like a I would love to hope that's true, But I also think this comes to like a more practical thing. The toilets didn't work on that ship, and they'd already been deployed to Venezuela. That was the carrier that
Right.
conducted the
That's right.
kidnapping of Maduro. And then
Yeah.
directly from there was no relief. And their toilets were not working. Okay? Poop everywhere, guys.
Oh
And they were sent
God.
to the Gulf to fight this war. The Mediterranean to fight this war. Like, I would not be remotely surprised if like this was just like a low-key mutiny by sabotage.
Wow. Whole battleship
Well,
and not a goddamn bidet in sight.
well, we have what, 9 of these damn things, so it's not like we're using all of them at one time. I mean, we have 9, and the Chinese have 2, and the Russians don't have any. So there is sort of a superiority on the one hand. On the other, and they claim they got all the submarines. I don't think that they got all of Iran's submarines. I mean,
I wanted to ask you about that. What have you heard about the kilos? So Iran had, as far as I'm aware, I'm a nerd, so the last time I read like Jane's book of fighting ships, Iran
they
had
had
3 kilo class.
3 kilo class, yes, and they nailed one of them. One of them is definitely out of action, and then they had this intermediate class of which they only made one, and so the U.S. nailed that one. But that means there's 2 kilo class subs sitting somewhere. I assume they've got them in shelters or something, hardened, whatever. But they have 20, I think, midgets, tiny subs that can still, distribute mines and stuff. So they're not talking about that, and
Tom
they
Clancy
should.
was full of shit, man. The killer class was supposed to be able to just like glide out from under the Persian Gulf at under 5 knots and be silent, and like obviously that isn't true.
Nah, nah, nah.
Yeah, so this was from a BBC report some weeks ago that the U.S. and Israel have dropped about on Tehran, which is a population of about 9 million people, and across the country, Israeli forces said that they had dropped 12,000 bombs in the last 18 days of the war, including 3,600 munitions on the Iranian capital alone. U.S. Central Command says it's hit over 9,000 targets.
Mm.
And the Israelis are using these. One of these major bombings that took out 40, 50 civilians that Israel claimed was a military target in the center of the town was with one of these 2,000-pound bombs that they
The same ones they're
said
using in Gaza.
the
Yeah.
forensic architecture kind of indicates that it was one of the MK-84 bombs, which the U.S. has sent tens of thousands to Israel
Yeah,
since
they're called
the
like the
Gaza
G.
genocide.
You hear them on media is G something. They always say like, oh,
Mm.
they're dropping the G something bomb. It's their like minimum 1,000 pound gravity bombs.
It's incomprehensible to understand that the level of urban density dropping these bombs. It is
And if you see what's happening in
monstrous.
southern Lebanon, they are
Mm.
like it's like it. I
Scorched
mean,
earth.
the Smotrich said what the we should make it like Rafah.
Mhm.
That's exactly what they're
Mm.
doing, or whatever
Mhm.
minister said that.
It was
The
Smotrich. He said he was going to
yeah,
turn it into Khan Yunis or and Rafah.
like Rafah. That's what they're doing to 10% of Lebanon. Like they're leveling it, and somehow I don't know. Like this, it pissed me off so much when like a total whelp like the prime minister of
Ugh.
the UK um did so little pushback before basically giving in to this. If you consider the whole scope of it, like to knuckle down into it, like, oh my God, like if there was ever a time to call out the special relationship between the US and the UK as fundamentally incestuous, because if you look at it, every single Prime Minister ends up serving on the board of directors of every American corporation. And I shit you not, it's all of them. Look it up.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
lying.
yeah.
It's an incestuous political relationship.
Well,
Starmer
it's
could have called that out and changed things, but he's obviously not a guy. I
no,
wasn't
no,
expecting it, but I was hoping maybe.
uh, no. He's just a toady, and it's unfortunate, but it's we're still in the middle of all those things. Um, I don't know. We'll see whether there is going to be some sort of true boots on the ground thing. I don't think they will, unless, as I said, they have some sort of special operation that they're going to try and nab all this radioactive material, which is going to be pretty difficult to do it. So I don't think that they're going to do it. And as I said, they're not running out of munitions, but they're getting low on them. Let's put it that way. That they couldn't sustain this for another couple of months, although that's kind of what they're planning for. But everyone went on recess, so it's definitely another 2 weeks of war. So
Which
people.
fundamentally tells all of us that the Democratic establishment wants this war to keep going. This is huge, guys. Like, this is
Big
so
business.
huge for the military industrial complex.
Does
Every
that.
single weapon system we could possibly think of is being funded right now. And I don't know, if you have no heart, buy Raytheon stock now.
Yeah, with respect, yeah, absolutely. The top
Oh,
10 corporations are, that's all the same, the usual suspects. Lockheed, Raytheon, etc. On the other hand, people are spending their money with insider trading information. There's a whole week of this kind of malarkey and
Ugh.
poly
oh,
market
and
crap.
that's illegal. They can't
This,
do that.
but you guys know, and I'm sure everyone knows, all of us, like this has been blatant all along. I think this
Oh,
time is the first time that it was blatant to the general public, if you will. And I think that's what is different this time.
well, there's more of it. Let's put it that way. One of the Russian Telegram sites that does pro-Russian things against the Ukrainians did a whole summary of well, not a whole summary, but did a short page or image that lists the first term insider trading and other monkey business, and then the second term stuff has already started. So you have this kind of interesting graph of there was just a lot of corrupt crap going on in the first administration. Is just that they didn't point it out. No one was pointing it out, and it's kind of the same thing now, except it's more extreme. And then people think they can just get away with it, which is
Yeah,
I mean. Uh, $10 million of increased trades, making $10 million, I guess, in income for the head of DHS, and he does have connections to companies that are vendors to DHS. None of that would have flown in an actual normal Congress. I mean, there's just all these
that's the
variations, or
least corrupt thing that is going on right now. Like literally the least corrupt thing. The,
it,
Trump, this motherfucker is waging a war and playing the stock market with it, and his insiders
oh
are
yeah,
making money on shorting or doing puts on the market. It's just like utter corruption. And I, I don't feel bad for the Gulf
Really
monarchies
putting the
because I
Bush
think they're
administration to
fundamentally
shame.
shitheads. Sorry?
Yeah.
They're definitely
They're yeah,
putting the Bush administration to shame. I mean, just
Oh
think
yeah,
yeah.
back to the
Oh,
Iraq War
yeah.
days.
the Bush administration was
Halliburton. Yeah.
like so corrupt. They all deserve to burn in hell
Remember their
forever. And
reality-based
they make
community?
them look like angels. Like this is so corrupt. It is. Oh God, I don't understand why it took so long for the general public to notice. And I think this time maybe they will. What do you guys feel about
we,
that?
we got a little problem here, some miscalculation with the time, grain, or temperature. Uh, Too much water. So I should have just used 1 to 1 on that for some reason. The red grains hold they're more firm than the other ones. The white quinoa is more fluffy, similar to couscous. But these ones, they kind of hold their texture. But you don't want to overcook it. That's like a crime to overcook quinoa. It turns easily into mush. But once you see I don't know if you can see the little uh, round spirals starting to pop off.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that's
got you.
indication that this is perfect. Once you see it like that, that's perfectly done.
Yum.
And then we're
Beautiful.
gonna drain this, cool it, and then mix it in with our salad. Make a salad dressing. Good to go.
Excellent. Excellent. I mean, there's so much corruption that, and this may be disinformation, but apparently Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of Polymarket. So that
Not
alone
not
is
not
crazy
not dis
crap.
not disinformation. 100% true. It is
Uh,
true. I checked.
oh,
It is.
all right. Well, I mean, he's got his fingers in all kinds of crap. I mean, he does have part of the biggest, silencer or gun suppressor company in the United States. He's got stuff all over the damn place, and he keeps a relatively low profile, with all due respect. And then, of course, Eric does all the whatever the hell he does with the resorts.
For
So,
sure.
Mm.
But I think
I
I
mean,
Speaking
think
of
I
Eric,
I think
what's
what it
happened to Eric Prince? I haven't heard from him in a while.
oh no, he just
What is
oh,
the
he's
thing
what?
he up
there.
to?
No, he's
He's
doing a
ensuring there's no people's revolt in any of the Gulf republics right the
yeah,
Gulf
yeah, yeah, yeah.
monarchies right now.
He's doing a thing, a mercenary thing. I can't remember what it is.
Mm,
But Eric Prince was in the news a couple of days ago
mm,
as being the vendor for something, and I can't remember
mm,
what it is. But we hadn't heard from the Viceroy of Afghanistan in a while, but he's back, and he undoubtedly, and he was there all along. I mean. Eric Prince is one of his subcontractor companies did the security when Doge was taking over all those buildings. So,
mm,
there's just there. It's all the tentacles
mm,
are everywhere.
mm. So I've transferred the quinoa to a sheet pan, and we're gonna stick it either in the refrigerator, freezer, whatever you have big enough, or outside if it's not sweltering. So just put it in a thin layer, and then it'll cool off quickly. We can mix it in our salad. Just throw it outside
Nice,
for now.
nice enough to make one hungry. Uh, I guess we should start talking about the schedule. And
What about Ukraine? You haven't touched on Ukraine.
oh well, Ukraine. Where to start? The highest number of drones and missiles was sent this past week at Ukraine by the Russians. On the other hand, the Ukrainians have reduced. They last year they were only up to 15 or 20% of oil refining capacity in or they lost 40% or 25%. Now they're up to 40%. So they're really crippling the Russians, even though they're even making estimates like that is crazy because of the shadow tankers and all this other garbage. So, but it's interesting that the Ukrainians are at least hitting oil facilities, whether it's storage or refineries, and they hit the major refinery, and they just hit one in St. Petersburg, I think. So, and then they sent a bunch of drones in at Moscow. I mean, they didn't really take anything major out, but just the fact that you have drones coming, Ukrainian drones coming in over, Moscow is kind of an important deal. And then the underlying story is, of course, they claim they're not at full mobilization, but they are mobilizing, and the Russians do conscription differently. So I think it's a year's conscription or whatever. That it's all weird, and as we know before, they were dragging murderers out of prisons to throw them at the Ukrainians. Now they're throwing people who are not trained at all militarily out into these sort of meat meat assaults. And so ultimately, they're not getting what they wanted. They wanted to take what's called the whatever it is, the fortress, the string of fortress cities or towns on the eastern side above Donetsk, I think, and they're not going to get it. I mean, these are pretty impenetrable, and in 4 years they haven't gotten close to taking them. So and the estimates, the think tank estimates are that they never will get them, or it'll take another 2 years to do it. So there's that. Uh,
Well,
the
before you
militaries,
go on, I said I was making a bastardized version of tabbouleh. So
all right,
I don't have enough lemon, so I'm gonna add some vinegar.
yep,
Also, add a touch of soy sauce, which is, I know, sacrilege, but it adds a little bit extra umami, as well as a little bit of Japanese mirin. A
yes,
little touch of sweetness with a little kick, a tiny bit of MSG in there, just a little bit, nothing terrible.
yum,
Forgive me, James. And I suppose we could really go off the rails here and put some uh, black vinegar, Chinese black vinegar, but this is a bit
that's
too
a bit
maybe smoky
much.
for. We'll just use some white spirits. Be enough, I think. That'll be good.
There we go.
And you also use parsley, mint. Sometimes you can use cinnamon. I've never tried. Also, the popular Levantine 7-spice mix with allspice, cumins, cinnamon, number of other ones. We might throw some of that in there too. But those are all the possibilities. Just wing it.
Yum. Still pretty good. We should talk about the schedule.
Oh,
If John is here,
did you have one more
what?
thing about the Ukrainians
Oh no, it's
before I
it's the
rudely
same.
interrupted?
No. The Russians are losing ground, not very much, but before they were only incrementally gaining ground. Now they've lost the ground that they had gained before. So, it's kind of a wash. And when you look at a big map of the Ukraine, there's only a tiny sliver of land being fought over. And yet, of course, the US is trying to pressure the Ukrainians to give up. They're just
The
shilling for the
Donbass.
Russians.
Yeah.
Yes, they want them to give up the Donbass, but apparently, there's actually enough room to probably create a summer counteroffensive. I don't know if they truly have that, but it does seem like they could move in that direction. And other ways they could proceed would be to move foreign troops to serve a logistical backup in Ukraine to allow Ukrainians to increase their combat forces so they have a lot more combat power. So there's that. The other stories are that, it's not so much they're running out of tanks, they just don't have enough of them, or they don't have enough fixed, let's put it that way. And the range of vehicles they're using has over the months been reduced to using civilian type vehicles. ATVs and motorcycles, and of course the Ukrainians are out there with their drones knocking people off, and that's kind of. Oh, and the first that was last week. I didn't. Maybe I mentioned it. Um, a
Oh hell, I'm going full
a
blown hippie, off the rails. I might as well throw some sunflowers in there. We had some sunflowers sitting around. So
there we go.
what the hell?
Yum. What the hell? A attack helicopter, a Ka-52, was taken down by a drone, an FPV drone, which is pretty interesting and outstanding. And it's one of those fiber optic ones that drags a cable behind it. And so there's actually an image of the damn thing, hitting the helicopter. So that's, one of those kind of interesting pieces of video. Um, uh, but, needless to say, there's other casualties that are all associated with these things. I looked at a map of Chernobyl. Uh, there's still a lot of hot spots around that. I mean, a significant number of hot spots, and it does remind us that whether it's the U.S. or the Israelis, I'm guessing it's the Israelis, put a weapon not too close, but close enough to the Iranian nuclear uh, reactor plant they have on Hormuz, and somebody did one of those wind pattern things, and the damn thing, if they blow it up or whatever, the radiation is going to cover UAE, Oman.
Mm.
I mean, it's just this
Mm.
huge cloud that can actually be really bad if that ever happens. So that's the usual kinds of posturing, I
Well,
suppose.
I mean,
I mean, it is. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that this war, all of these wars have been chemical wars. Chemical warfare has been going on, whether it's
Well, the Russian.
dioxin
Ru-
from Agent Orange to depleted uranium to white
the
phosphorus to uh, the
Well, the Russians use on a regular basis tear gas, CS and
mm,
CN, which is technically illegal to use
mm,
in warfare. So already, and they haven't stopped. They've been using tear gas all through the campaign. They keep mentioning it, gets mentioned, and then nobody does anything about it. So there's going to be a lot of
mm,
ugliness when this whole thing gets over. Um, Needless to say, and then there's the issue of drones. That there are Ukrainian people, drone guys, drone experts now advising Americans. Um, the contradictions are
mm,
complex relative to you know um, how to knock down Russian/Iranian drones and that kind of thing, and that doesn't even
mm,
address what we were just talking about. And
mm,
the Iranians have a two-stage ballistic missile. They don't talk about
mm.
this. Not that it works properly, but they've got
Was that
at
one that
least
they?
one two-stage ballistic missile.
Isn't that what they hit Mona and Arad with? I thought that was a
I don't.
ballistic missile.
Well, they have ballistic missiles. They have a bunch of them, but they
Mm,
have one that's like a two-stage one, which means they
mm,
could throw it out there really far. And sort
mm,
of and this may be disinformation, but the one that was going to Diego Garcia, I
yeah,
didn't get close, but that 4,000 kilometers, I think, is whatever the range is on it. And then people draw their little maps and show how if they could send something at 2,000 to 4,000
mm,
kilometers, they could hit England, um, but it would never get there. I mean, it'd be up in the air. The air defense would come up and try and knock it down, and it wouldn't get close. But the fact is, they're doing this kind of craziness. Well, the Israelis have a two-stage ballistic missile too, and they don't talk about it. So
mm,
it's kind of interesting. And obviously, the Israelis, are probably set up to put one of their nuclear warheads on the thing. Oh, but
mm.
of course, they claim that they never admitted that they have nuclear weapons. So there's that story too. Anyway, it's a very terrible mess. And we were looking at here the issue. Well, in Adnan's little group, they were talking about the more things about the Sri Lankans and the U.S. Submarine, the Charlotte, I think. It is an attack submarine, a Los Angeles class attack submarine. It knocked down this little frigate or whatever the hell it is. Uh, and as I mentioned a week before, that if you saw it's really unfortunately kind of cool the way a Mark 48 torpedo actually works against a ship, and it just breaks. They fired two of them into this ship, but then they killed all these people. The thing was unarmed, so it's like really a war crime then. And yes, of course, the sub is under no obligation truly to pick up survivors, which were picked up by the Sri Lankans because they were doing joint exercises with this one little Iranian, frigate or whatever. So, but it's a fairly new ship. So, just from a cost point of view, because the damn thing is only about 5 years old, so it's they are losing stuff. I mean, and the U.S. claims they've knocked out all these things, but the reality is, of course, that they have all these little boats that can swarm. They have relatively sophisticated kind of delivery systems relative to drones. There's a lot of stuff still going on. Anyway, enough of that. The war remains the same. Casualty rates are going up on the Russian side. Let's just be clear about that. They are losing more people every week. I mean, it went down for a little bit, but now it's back up. And so I don't think the Russians are in a good place to, argue about ceasefires. So, which is what they are talking about. Of course, they don't talk about it that much because they're negotiating in Miami. Of all places, the negotiation for Ukraine is going on without Russians, but I think there's Russians there. But it's Ukrainians in the
Oh,
U.S. and
so it's kind of like the Israelis with the Palestinians negotiating without the
yes,
Palestinians.
yeah, it's very similar, and they're meeting in Miami. I mean, we never hear about it, but there's always a little thing that says, we've been. There's negotiation going on, blah, 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 blah. It's just about, with all respect, it's like junkets. Well, let's go to Geneva this week, or let's go to, it's just not good. Anyway, let's talk about the
Anyway,
schedule.
remember all that stuff I said about taboulleh?
Yes.
Forget about all that. I made the quinoa salad with chopped vegetables. There we go. There's
right.
There's nowhere near enough parsley to qualify this as tabbouleh. But we
Taboulleh.
tried.
Yeah.
We made do with what we had, and it's nice and crunchy,
Probably,
healthy salad there for you.
probably tastes good regardless. And of course, you're using up all the extra veggies, etc. Anyway, John, what's happening in half an hour, 34 minutes?
So in half an hour, we are going to watch the 4th episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker series called The Vampire. Yes, another vampire. If you remember, in the first made-for-television movie, Kolchak does battle with a vampire, and
Yes.
that was in Los Angeles. And what do you know? He gets himself assigned to a story in Los Angeles because now he's in Chicago, but he gets assigned to a story in Los Angeles about a controversial guru who he's going to interview. But while he's out there, you wouldn't believe this.
Another vampire, right?
Yeah, there's a string of murders where people are being drained of blood. What's going on? And
yeah.
So there is a connection, between that first movie and this one. They don't get too explicit about it.
Vampire of the Week. Yeah.
Yes. But this vampire is a little bit different. All right. And then, yeah. So, but before I go, I just wanted to ask Arjun a question if I could. What does MERS stand for again?
Merv.
Oh, MERV.
It's MERV.
Oh, okay.
Multiple entry, whatever.
Vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't know why it's MERV rather than MIRV. But anyway.
Somebody's got to have a pocket supercomputer around here somewhere.
Different than Merv Griffin.
Yes, it is. That's how it's spelled, like Merv Griffin.
Okay.
Anyway, so at afterwards is Silicon Valley. I think if hopefully Travis will be here to do
I'm
that.
not certain about that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're uncertain about that. Saturday is the Fast Show at 5-ish. There will be an update on Hungary this week with Anna, and I'm looking forward to that because all kinds of crazy crap is going on with the Hungarians. I mean, so much that our esteemed vice president, the fornicator with couches, is going to be in Hungary, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, that should do it. But yes, there is so much stupid things going on that I ran out of space on my paper writing.
Come on, you can't have too many slides.
Yes, you can.
You? Okay.
So I think we're also going to have a movie. Are we going to have a movie at 7 on Saturday? I don't know. Susanna,
Sure.
do you know anything about this? Or
Susanna does second Saturdays of the month.
Oh, all right.
But maybe Prof. John does some roll the dice.
I can do roll the dice theater.
Yeah.
Where you look at a smorgasbord of movie choices.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, I think I'll play being there if that's okay. Because Lane is doing Peter Sellers' career on Sunday, so it might be a nice bookend there. Or compliment.
Yes, indeed.
Brilliant.
And it's a wonderful movie.
Now, on Sunday
afternoon or Sunday afternoon, yeah.
At 3 o'clock, Susanna has another of these Columbo descriptor things, and which is always as I say, it's really interesting because it's someone who really never had to live through all of the insanity of the 70s and 80s. So her whole perspective on it is kind of interesting and it's very different. And I kind of appreciate that in her sort of commentary on episodes of Columbo. Although I often think that we should watch the episode without sound in parallel to her commentary. But anyway, that's just me.
Cool.
So at 5 o'clock on Sunday is a pretty important episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And John?
Indeed. It is called The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1. Yeah, you don't want to miss this one. This is good stuff.
Well, it's
every week.
No, this one
Star Trek: The Next Generation, Joe. So it's true.
It has story arcs galore. I mean, there'll be multiple story arcs for the next couple of years in Star Trek: The Next Generation that evolve from these, I think, 2 episodes, whatever. Yeah, and it's really interesting, and it has a whole bunch of other things that you will come back again somewhere down the line, and so it's important for that reason alone. And the implication is that kind of is read into, I think, a couple of the Next Generation movies. So there's that as well,
Yeah.
because it's mentioned in First Contact, I think, or there's an implication that goes into the movie First Contact, etc. So anyway, there's that. If Lane's here, what are we going to do Sunday?
The final episode of the Peter Sellers story and the movie, The Peter Sellers Story. The Life of Peter Sellers. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, the other ones were pretty interesting. Just getting a sense of how he lived his life. It just is pretty. I recall some things about it, but it was good to sort of see it in a full, complete timeline, and that's kind of interesting.
The movie very well came out in the mid notes. Good cast. Really good.
Was Susanna in the house? Maybe she might want to have commented on the Columbo episode. Suitable for framing.
Susanna's in the house. Yes.
Hey there.
Actually, if you go backwards to the Columbo commentary, it's excellent. It's one of the best episodes from season 1, suitable for framing with Ross Martin. So it should be very good. Yeah.
Ross Martin is the
art dealer.
West.
Yeah, but he plays an art dealer in this one, right?
Yes, the velvet jacket. Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
It's unforgettable.
Unforgettable, indeed.
Or was that velour?
I'm not sure what the difference.
Yeah. So on Monday, Nate is reading, the history of Palo Alto. It's not just Palo Alto. It's actually a pretty interesting story, and we're just, continuing on with that. I don't know if Nate wants to talk about that.
I did want to.
Okay, please. Yes.
This week I did have something I wanted to mention. It looks like almost everyone here already knows about it, so there's no new customers. But what I wanted to say is, in the last 2 weeks at least, we're getting more very explicitly into the evolution of the military-industrial complex and computing and the academic, the connections between the government, the research institutions, and of course the contractor are the like the Raytheon and everything. I don't know when Raytheon started, but anyway, just Arjun said something about how like all the weapon systems are being used now and what a boon this is going to be. And I've been thinking about how the obvious thing that's been coming up, that newer technologies are being fielded and we're kind of seeing how they're working. And so I've been, what's up, Joe?
The Battlefield Laboratory.
Yes, thank you.
Well, it can. Well,
not just limited to Gaza any longer.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let me put Palo Alto again in context by saying Melania, the First Lady of the United States, did a thing a couple of days ago with a robot. And it was just bizarre. But the reality is that she was promoting this software called Plato. Now, there have been several Platos during, the history of technology, just in terms of technology, not just about, Greeks. But so I sort of looked it up, and it's venture capital. It's a very typical venture capital firm in that sense, as a multi-headed whatever. But it is also to make it fit. It's another spin-off from Stanford and Stanford Research Institute. So essentially, now what's the purpose of this Plato software? And the way that Melania was presenting it was that we could get rid of teachers. You could just have a homeschooling robot
Oh,
built
Lord.
on this software. Now, it doesn't exist yet, but just you know where that's going. So it was just bizarre. And yes, it's in Palo Alto. So anyway.
Interesting, because I did see that presentation with Melania and the robot. I did yet again wonder if I had stumbled into an alternate dimension, as is so often the case these days. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's also, I didn't know it was directly to Palo Alto, but it also does relate to themes, because there's a whole thing about child development and high IQ
Oh yeah,
kids, and
absolutely. Yeah, it fits
running through the
absolutely.
book
Right.
and through Palo Alto. But just lastly, so when it's apt, I'm going to bring in an article and add it to the reading, something that is like a through line to the present. And this week, it's a Guardian article about Maven, the data aggregation software that Palantir built. I think Google had the contract was going to have it, and then their workers protested. Anyway, the point is, it's an interesting article about kind of getting at that, in a way, the emphasis on AI is maybe being the why that school was bombed. He is getting more at how Maven is more at fault in the way in which these kill list decisions, kill chain is it called, decisions are being sped up so fast, and
Maximum
and this
lethality.
maximum lethality, and that there was data entered into that software about that school and the building next to it that was out of date. And so anyway, I went into more detail than necessary, just to say that from time to time, I'm going to try and bring something like that to add to the reading. And I welcome, especially those with, knowledge of military technology to bring their expertise to it. So anyway, there you go.
Sounds good.
Well, it is an interesting story, and with respect, it just means that you have lazy people who don't want to quality control or quality assurance address how up to date the target list is, because frankly, I don't. It's too lazy to sort of just let the AI choose the targets. I mean, you got to sort of check it out before you have to put together a mission and blah, 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 I mean, it would seem to me that if you were looking at the images from the overhead, the relatively recent satellite images, you would see that it's not a military building. It's already been converted to a school. I mean, you can see the school-like elements from the satellite photo. So it's just stupid. Anyway, so
Topics
there's
like
that.
this and topics like this and discussions like these remind me of Brian Williams and his waxing poetic about the beauty of our munitions.
Oh
and
God.
and it just here just analyzing it from this perspective kind of obscures this focus on the precision of their bombs. How on
Oh,
earth can you have a precise 2,000-pound bomb in a city of 9 million people that is denser than most Western cities that you'll come across? It
well,
is the unspeakable criminality. It is
yes.
just
Oh, Joe,
sickening.
we no longer have a woke military. I don't know what you're
Oh,
complaining
That's
about.
right.
I did not
Uh,
get the memo.
And
well,
Professor
they
Ann,
didn't advance. Two black officers and two women, Hegseth refused to elevate them to brigadier general. Now, I don't think
He
he's
wouldn't
going to
shave?
admit that he did it because it was about race or gender, but it's pretty curious that happened today. So anyway, carry on. Sorry.
I thought it was that she refused to shave her beard.
No.
That was
No.
well. That was the issue about excess penchant for hating on facial hair, is that it's more difficult for African Americans to shave than white folks, and that is a way to thin out the population in the army or in the armed services.
Just insane. Bruce, why don't you tell us about the Red Hour, and then we can get ready to go.
Well, Red Hour is going to be a little different this week. It's going to be more of an open discussion, no particular reading, but we're going to discuss the relationship between art and the people that create the art, and how do we appreciate art created by somebody that has a problematic personal life. So I invite people to bring some of their favorite literature, movies, music, whatever, and discuss how they appreciate them if they know the backstory of the artist and he's not a nice person. So.
Well, that's actually very interesting, because that underlies certain. Well, I guess the classic example is Hitler and the Vienna Academy, right? So if some guy had accepted him into the Vienna Academy, wouldn't have World War II. Well,
That's
anyway.
what I've been saying for years. If they had just let him into art school.
Yeah, if somebody
none of
bought
this
his
shit would happen.
paintings, just buy the paintings. In fact, are there any Hitler pieces of art extant? Do we know?
They have those watercolors of buildings. I think that's mainly the ones, because he can't draw people. So there is a couple of those extant, I think.
Oh yeah,
not just
they're highly sought after by fans.
I think you'll find out he drew enough people.
Those and George Bush paintings.
Yes, I was going to say
Jesus.
that the Kennedy Trump Center is going to have some of G.W. Bush's paintings and Hitler's paintings hanging on the wall.
Yeah, that's appropriate. Well, no, it'll have one of Trump's drawings, that he claims he doesn't make art, but then he auctioned off one of his very stupid drawings. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, we've got Gacy's clown paintings, I think there were, and
yes,
and Charlie Manson's rock music. So we could break up a lot of things on Tuesday night.
I
Yes. Karen.
I just wanted to point out to our listener that where are you going to get analysis like this? I mean, you have heard it here first. The cause of World War II was the admissions committee to the Vienna Art School or whatever it was.
Hey, but it's a true story. It's the Vienna,
Those
we'll try
guys
to do
are the
better
real
next week.
criminals.